Joined by Paul Langlois. We know him from Canada's band, the Tragically Hip. You're kind of forging out on your own here. We've got a brand new album, Hardly Holding On. The new single, Hardly Holding On, the new album, Smooth Rock Falls. And Sunday, July 12th at Rock and Thunderfest this summer in Edmonton. So we're excited to have you back in Edmonton. I know you guys spent a lot of time here with the Tragically Hip in our fair city. So can you just speak to being back here with your band and performing this summer at Rock and Thunderfest?
Well, we're pretty excited too. We have, the four guys in my band are working guys, and this playing in a band thing, they're excited about it. They're enthusiastic. We're flying to a gig, that makes a big difference when you're like in a rock and roll band. I remember the Hips' first flight in the early days was to Winnipeg, and we were so pumped up about it. We got our gear underneath, and we're flying to a gig, man, and it's really it's a big deal, and yeah, we're excited about Edmonton. It's going to be nice to be back. I haven't been back to Edmonton since the last tour where we did 2 nights there, and had just an excellent time, just a lot of fun. And so I've always liked Edmonton. It's always good to go back there. So it's especially fun to go with my own band.
Mhm. I think that a lot of people that will be at Rock and Thunder Fest would have been at one of those two shows in Edmonton that was still talked about quite a bit in our city. And there were watch parties all over the city when you guys played your final show. So this is going to be really, really special, I think, for Edmonton to have you back in the city.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, and it's going to be special for me too. And um, yeah, we're playing some hip songs like, a portion. Um, a few hip songs in there, like a lot of this is my fourth solo record, so got some choices as far as my material goes, and it's fun to throw some hip songs in there just to, the crowd likes it. Obviously, you like a song, so it seems to be going over well if we do that. And the feedback has made me more comfortable with it. I wasn't really comfortable a few years ago, too comfortable with it. We do like one hip song or two. And I just got more comfortable because people just come up and say, "That's so awesome. You played that." And, keeping the music alive somewhat, they're good songs. And I know them, and so do the other guys. So it's fun to throw a few hip tunes in there.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you've done this for a while now, with your band. Are you obviously still keep in touch with the guys, from the Tragically Hip? Are you guys still pretty close, still get together, that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, yeah. Johnny lives in Toronto, so we see him less, but we're certainly in touch with him. And the three of us live in Kingston, Robbie and Gord Sinclair and I. And yeah, we have a Zoom call regularly because we have stuff to discuss and manage. We have a studio that's operating and pretty busy place. So we're always kind of talking about that and what it needs, a new roof or whatever. And then we're finding things and putting things out, and so there's just stuff on the go. So we're in touch naturally as a band, but yeah, I mean, Robbie and Gordon and I, it's like if you as it builds up, okay, now I need four things signed. So, I text them and say, "Hey, can I drop by today and get stuff signed?" And they do the same. And so there's kind of a circle of signing, because a lot of times a charity will ask it, can you get the other guys to sign? So anyway, we have little visits here and there, probably almost weekly. And yeah, get together for beer, dinner, and yeah, we're very much good friends, and that was something to be proud of. We were with Gord too, and like after all we were on the road 34 years, or playing actively, and to remain friends when there's five of you is a bit of an achievement, I think. And we just had a lot of respect for each other. We got along well. We were kind of more kind. We choose the kind route like even if you didn't like a song, no one would be like that someone else brings in because we were all bringing in songs. You wouldn't be like, oh, that's a brutal song, bud. You'd never say that. It just wouldn't come up again. It happened to me, of course. It happened to everyone, where it's just like, oh, okay, the next day no one's bringing up the song you brought in. So you just move on and you'll get it. You'll get one the next time. So anyway, we got lucky that it was the right bunch of people and we had an incredible run, an incredible life. Gord got a shit hand, but he did nail uh like his life and his musical life for a long, long time.
Hmm. Uh, do you have hope that it's just simply Paul Langlois, or do you want to be always known as, Paul Langlois of the Tragically Hip?
Like it doesn't, I know it helps the promoter to say um of the Tragically Hip. Um so that doesn't bother me. I'm fine with Paul Langlois too, just Paul Langlois. I was Paul Langlois band for the last record, and I decided I don't know, it sounded like a wedding band or something, Paul Langlois band. There was no the, and it was just like Paul Langlois band. It just started bothering me.
Mm.
And so now I'm back to Paul Langlois, but it's the same band guys and great guys. And I probably wouldn't be doing anything close to this if I didn't have them. They're all good friends and they're good musicians and very enthusiastic and very supportive of me. They have my back, and that makes a difference up there in the middle with all the heat and pressure on.
Been a part of your life for a long time too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that makes a difference too. I mean, it makes a big difference. So, yeah, I actually have fun. They accuse me of not liking practicing, but I do like to practice. They just don't believe that I do.
Did I see right that you were in Iqaluit for Hockey Helps Homeless recently?
I was.
I
Yeah,
saw a picture
last
of
weekend.
you on Ben Scriven's Instagram page. I was positive it was you, so I wanted to double check.
Okay, yeah, Ben's a nice guy. It was a lot of fun. My daughter helps run that
Okay.
organization, and she asked me, "What am I going to say no to my kid?" So she asked me to be the entertainment. I hung up the skates a few years ago, but I played like whatever, two or three times, three or four or five songs, and hung out with the ex-NHLers, and they're all funny and full of life, and so they're so great at it. There was a bunch of Leafs alumni, and then a bunch of Rand Joe Thornton was there, and he was awesome. So it was minus 45 and um, cold, but we had the right things on and went dog sledding. It was quite an adventure and a beautiful spot, beautiful people. It was really um, it was kind of bucket list kind of thing. If you ever go there, you'll be very glad you did.
Very cool. Is there any places in Canada that you haven't been yet that maybe are still on that bucket list for you?
Yeah, well, never been to Yellowknife or Whitehorse, so those would be two play with the Hip went up north to a place called Fort Albany and played a show a number of years ago, and that was a great experience. And so yeah, a couple up north. So the rest of the country is pretty covered. Played Newfoundland a bunch, the Maritimes a bunch, out west a bunch. So I don't think there's any other sort of bucket list towns or cities that I know of. But we certainly were lucky to tour Canada a lot and get to know these cities and work our way up in these cities. And we did the same thing in America. Just depended on the city and how the club gigs went and if we got some radio play, that made a big difference. Obviously, we did up here,
Mhm.
but in America, we got some cities, Chicago, San Francisco, Dallas, Boston, where we had radio play. And so when you have radio play, there's a crowd there already. And we did great with a full room. Same in Europe, in Holland. they'll come and see a Canadian band first time. So the first time we played, Amsterdam and cities in Holland, the room was full. So it was like, oh, okay, so we got this.
I noticed recently you asked on socials what makes a great band and whether it takes some time or if you know right away. I was just kind of curious on your thoughts on that. Do you think that you knew right away?
Yeah, I did. I knew right away because they asked me. I joined later. I was kind of called the new guy for the first couple of years, and I made them stop calling me that. Um, so they started in November '84, and I joined in about August '86. They had a sax player named Davis Manning. May he rest in peace. He was a great guy, but he was 40 and they were 20. And so it just wasn't going to work out. He wanted to hit the road and they were in school. And anyway, so a year and a half later, Gord called me and he said, "Hey, you want to join the Hip?" And I'd been to many shows. Gord always put me on the list, um, like just automatically without saying. And I loved them and I thought they were great. And so I told my dad, and he's like, "Are you sure about this?" I was supposed to be going to university or whatever, and did seeking out the profession of my choice, that kind of thing. And I was like, Dad, these guys are going to be huge. I know it. I know they're going to be big. I know they're going to be successful. And so he was like, fair enough. And yeah, I mean, it didn't happen overnight. We did a lot of touring before we were known, and that's club tours, like, really a grind in a van that's breaking down all the time. And you're going right across. It's a tough country to tour. I mean, everything is so far away from each other. Edmonton, Calgary is like a breakout there, because it's like, oh my God, we only have 3 hours tomorrow. But the rest of the getting across is crazy. And we did it nonstop, but we were the right age. We were in our 20s. So this is not an old person's game. If you want to make it through your live performance. And we knew that we were a good tight live band. And the other key was we knew we weren't going to stop writing songs. We were just trying to write good songs, all five of us. And so we just kept that up the whole way through. So we always had more material than we needed. And I think that was a big key, that everyone was super into, coming up with ideas and bringing them in. And, we go around the circle. So you get maybe 3 times, you'd have 15 sort of ideas. And then the next day, the good ones would get mentioned, and let's try that. And the ones that weren't so, weren't as exciting, they just didn't get brought up again. Like no one was mean to each other.
Okay, so this was probably so cliche, but if, any bands are out there and they are starting out and they're of that age, and I know that the music industry obviously changes every few years, but if you could offer up, any sort of words of wisdom for any of those types of bands, just kind of, I know we have it, and with that grinding it out throughout the years.
Yeah, it's I know a couple of young bands. There's a younger band called Tiny Horse that I'm going to go in the studio with in the next couple of weeks. You know, a manager is very handy, and an agent. You can have one without the other. Manager kind of does everything, but the agent is your key to booking gigs. There are bands out there that are doing pretty well and are semi-known, and they're booking themselves. So you've got to get yourself to play in front of music business people, and the place to do that is Toronto or Montreal or Vancouver. And but there's music business people in any city, like say Edmonton. There's got to be a couple of agents there. And so it's very helpful to have someone like that. Bands break up, and so that's the other key is I don't think there's any way around the fact that you have to be on the same page and you have to get along. You can't have oh, this guy bugs me or that guy bugs me. It's just kind of like it's just not going to work because people just get tired of it and they leave. And so, it's you know, it, it's partial luck, but also part behavior, and being kind to each other and just trying to get on the same page in general. So, and it's all about the songs, still is all about the songs. So yeah, I mean, and you got to be in your you got to be younger if you're going to travel. And there's other ways to do it though these days, that there weren't available, TikTok and this kind of stuff. But again, that's a stroke of luck too. If something, usually whatever goes viral or becomes a hit, it, it's it's because it's good.
Hmm.
Um, so you just got to keep writing and keep at it if you're serious about it.
Well, we're looking forward to having you here this summer for Rock and Thunder Fest. I did have one more question I wanted to ask. One of the, I guess, the big reactions when we announced the show this year was that Rick Campanelli would be host on the stage. So I had a bunch of
Yeah.
listeners that were, reminiscing about Much Music Days and everything like that. So I was just wondering if any certain moments stick out with Rick that, because I'm sure you guys were in studio with him tons of times.
Many times, yeah, many times with quite a few of them,
Mm.
and they made a big difference to our career. Um, it's something missing. Something is missing without it. Because if you got on Much Music or Music Plus, the Quebec version, people were watching it. Everyone I knew was watching it. You're just checking out videos all the time, and it was quite an age and a sort of period of time. So Rick, yep, we were interviewed by him many times, and he probably hosted a gig or two of ours. I saw that he's hosting the Edmonton show, and I was happy to see that. Yeah, nice guy. Can't specifically remember any um, shenanigans, but I'm sure there always were some.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to seeing you on the stage. Can't wait for this summer. Sunday, July 12th, Rock and Thunderfest, rockandthunderfest.com to grab your tickets. Thank you so much for taking the taking the time today, Paul. I really appreciate it. And yeah, can't wait for this summer.
Thanks a lot, Jess. It's been thanks for having me, and really looking forward to the show. We'll see
Cool.
you there.
Edmonton's best rock, 100.3 The Bear.